Okay, this is a video to show you how to insert a sky without even loading a sky, but by using patterns instead. So I'm just going to show you really fast. Really not going to explain anything yet, because you'll have to create your sky patterns if you like this. But just watch this. Rectangular marquee tool. Select there, just down below the bottom of the skyline. Come over here to my patterns. I'll just leave it there. I'm the one that's currently selected. Move this around. I think I like that right there. Choose OK. Come up here to darker color. And I'm done. See how fast that was? Okay. Now, the pattern set you won't have. That's what I'm going to show you how to do right now. And then I'll go through this again so you can follow along. Okay, here's how you can create a pattern set that has clouds in it that you can use at any time. First, you want to open up the clouds, whatever clouds you have that you want in your pattern set. I'm just going to pick a couple because I already have a pattern set, but I'm just going to make a new one so you can see how to do this. Just open up the clouds that you want. I'm only going to choose 2. And there they are. Okay, I'm going to select the first one. You're just going to go to Edit, Define Pattern, give it a name right here. I'm just going to leave it as it is. Okay. Select the next one. Go to Edit, Define Pattern, give it a name. I'm just going to leave it as New 4. Okay. Okay, now I'm done with that. You can put as many clouds in this pattern set as you want to. Now I'm going to go to Edit, Preset Manager, and I'm going to change this preset type to Patterns. Now, what that did was added these two to the last currently pattern that you had, pattern set you had selected, which in this case was clouds. So if you do not, which you won't, yours won't be clouds because you don't have a cloud pattern set yet, but one of your pattern sets will be in here. But like I say, it just won't be clouds. But I know that the last 2 here are the ones that I just added, so I'm going to select them both and click, hold my control key down, click. Those are the 2 clouds that I just added. Like I say, all the rest of these right here will be a different set of patterns for you, so just take note of that. But I'm going to select these 2 that I just added. I'm going to choose Save Set, and I already have one cloud set saved, which is a cloud set that I use, but I'll just make another one. This is going to be Clouds 2, and you won't have. Actually, I'm going to name this Sky. That's a better name. Sky. And like I say, you probably won't have anything in here, or you might, but we're just saving this new pattern set as Sky. Save it. Now these two that were added to this set, I want to delete them back out. They're already selected, so I'm going to delete them back out. Now they're gone again. Now I'm done. And that's all there is to creating your pattern set. Let me show you. Now if I come back over here, oh wait a minute, I'll close this. You have to close Photoshop, and then reopen it. And those new clouds will be in that new pattern set you just made, and then they'll always be there. You can use them anytime. Okay, so now that the pattern set's made, let's go back to this image and go through this a little slower this time so you can follow along. Okay, my rectangular marquee selection tool. First of all, this will work really well on a picture if the foreground is really prominent, really dark, and separated from the blown out sky with very little in between. In other words, you got a bright blown out sky and a dark foreground and not much in between. Then this is going to be a really quick, beautiful way to do this. So your rectangular marquee tool, add to selection, mode is normal. I'm going to go ahead and just select an area, entire area of the sky that I want, just below the bottom of the skyline right there. I'm going to come over here to my new adjustment layer, choose pattern. Now this single arrow right here, you click it, it'll show all the clouds that are in your current pattern set. Now this is my old original pattern set. These double arrows you click, and you can choose from your pattern sets, like all these, and just click no when this comes up. Okay, now you got your, those are just, that's a pattern set. But we want sky. That's the new pattern set you just made, or whatever you named it, sky. There they are. There's the two. You pick the one you want. Let's just pick, I kind of like this one better. Now you see where this pattern stops right there and then starts over again. Well, we obviously don't want that in there. So we'll scale this up, which will make that picture bigger, spread everything out. And at this point you can move it around, kind of move the clouds around, put them where you think they might look better or what you like. I think I'll try that right there, and then choose OK. And then I'm going to come up here to my blending mode, change that to darker color, and I'm done. Now if you want to make this look just a little bit more realistic, you can come over here to your gradient tool, click your gradient tool, and then come up here to choose your gradient pattern set. Click that single arrow, and then come over here, click your double arrow, and choose default. And then the second one will be foreground to transparent. That's the one you want. Click it. Make sure that this linear gradient is selected, the first one right here. Your mode will be difference. Opacity can vary, but I've found 50% works pretty good. Reverse unchecked, dither checked, and transparency checked. first go up here to select and then reselect. Now just draw a line from the bottom of your skyline up to almost the top. That just brightens the bottom of it a little bit, makes it look a little bit more real, because that's what a real sky looks like. If you need to, you can do it again. And I think one time was enough. I'm going to undo that. Select, deselect, and your image is done. Has a beautiful sky in it, and it was really easy and fast. Okay, now I'm going to go on to show you how to use the same process with a picture that's not quite this easy to use. So we'll continue on with that now. Okay, I have an image loaded here now. This one's going to be take a little bit more work, because as you can see, the blown out sky and the foreground's not so prominent. There's stuff here that is almost the same color as the blown out sky, so our previous method isn't going to work quite the same, but this is still pretty easy and it looks really good. So if you just follow along, first thing we're going to do is select all the area where we want the sky to be, and we're going to do that with the magic wand. Make sure you have add to selection selected up here. My tolerance level is 40, which I found works pretty good, but you can change that. The higher the number, the more it will select. Anti-alias checked. You want contiguous unchecked. Sample all layers unchecked. I'll just show you real quick why you want contiguous unchecked. It'll just kind of explain to you what it is. If I check contiguous and I come down here and click with my magic wand to select an area, it selects everything to the point until it runs into a boundary that is not within the tolerance level that you set. So as you can see, it stopped along this tree line right here, down around here. All right here is the boundaries where it found to stop. So, but that's not what we want, so I'm going to undo that. I'm going to uncheck contiguous, and again make sure add to selection is the one we're set on. Okay, now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click. Now it looks at the entire image and selects everything within that tolerance level, and that's going to be where we want sky. Now you can see down here we obviously don't want sky down here in some of these selected areas, but that's not a problem. We'll take care of that in a minute. You see these blue areas right here where they're just kind of overexposed, no detail. We're going to have to get rid of those. You're going to have to sacrifice that, but there's no detail there anyway. So I'm going to find a nice little blue spot right here and click on it, so it'll add that to the selection that will be covered with sky. Okay, now you see how it selected a whole bunch more over the entire image is within your tolerance level that you set. If you have anything else that's really light colored, no detail, that you'll probably want to click on it and get rid of it too. Maybe light greens, light, whatever might be in your image. I got some green over here, but I think that's dark enough to where I can keep it. So now we have everything selected where we want the sky to be. Now we're going to come down here to our selection brush tool, choose selection brush tool, and now we want to make sure this is set on subtract from selection, because we're subtracting from the selection where we want sky. So yeah, you want to make sure it's subtract from selection. A hard brush, size can vary depending on what size you need. The mode is selection, hardness is 100, and then we're going to come down here and we're going to start deselecting where we do not want sky. I'm going to make my selection tool a little bigger to start with. Just start unselecting this. We don't want no sky down here, obviously. This is really pretty easy. Once you get good at it, you can do it pretty fast. But I want to go through here and deselect all the areas where we do not want sky. We don't want any sky on that rooftop. Whoops, went too high. Undo that. Yep, so you just go through here and unselect everything where you don't want sky. Make my selection tool a little smaller now. There's some in her hair. We don't want sky in her hair. You don't have to be super precise yet because there's one more step we're going to do to make sure we didn't miss nothing. Here's a little trick. See this little spot right here? I'll get rid of a little more. Now there's a spot right there that you want to be a perfect line right across the top of that rooftop. So if we come right here and click, then hold our shift key down and come up to the other end and click again, it'll draw a perfect line across there with whatever tool you're using. So you can use this for a lot of tools in PSE. Selection tools, brush tools, paint tools, eraser tools. It works for a lot of tools, so it's very handy to know that trick. I'm going to do it again right here on this tree limb. I'm going to click. Actually, it's down along the edge of that roof. I'm going to come down here, press my shift key down, click again, and it just selected a straight line right across, right down there. I'm going to do it again right here. There's a little bit there I need to get rid of. Deselect. A little bit more in her hair right there. Okay, looks like I pretty much got it all. So now that we've got that far, we want to come up here and change our selection mode, or our mode, to mask. And your mask color will show everything where there's not going to be sky. So we want to make sure we didn't miss nothing. There's a little bit right there that we want to color over. We don't want sky there. A little bit there in her hair we missed. A little bit right there. A little bit down here. Don't want no sky there. Okay, looks like I got it all. So you just want to make sure you go through there and Make sure everything where you do not want sky is covered over with your mask color. So I'm going to come back up here and change my mode back to selection. I like to work with it better that way. Now we're ready to put the sky in. So I'm going to come over here to my create new fill or adjustment layer, choose pattern, and then you can click that single arrow and then the double arrow over here. Our pattern set that you want is probably already selected from the first part of this video, but if it isn't, you'll click this double arrow and choose sky, which is the pattern you made earlier, and then choose a sky, you can see on this second one right here that the pattern ends right here and starts over again, but that's no problem. As you saw from the first part of this video, you can scale it up, but I think I like this sky better. So I'm going to click the first one and I can move it around. There's the edge of it again. I'm going to go ahead and scale it up. Now I can move it around to where I want it. And I think I like that right there. Choose OK. And then I'm going to change the opacity to make it just a little bit lighter, because it makes it look a little bit more real just because this picture's so light. Right there. Then I'm going to change my blending mode right here to darker color. That brought out a little bit more detail right here. And that's pretty much done. And I'm going to go up here to select, reselect, and then add a gradient. Use my gradient tool, which was already set from the first image, but in case you didn't see it, we want gradient. We want to click this arrow, this double arrow, choose default, the second one, which is foreground to transparent. We want our linear gradient selected. We want the mode to be difference, opacity 50%, reverse unchecked, dither checked, transparency checked. And then we're just going to draw a line right here from the bottom of the skyline up to almost the top. And that sky looks pretty good. You can always, from here, I mean it's done now. You just select so you can look at it. So that was a very poor image to work with, but we did get a sky in it that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to select, reselect. You can change the opacity back up if you want it a little darker, a little lighter, wherever you want to put it. I like this one at about, looks like about 90%. So there it is. There's 2 easy ways to answer the sky, and by just using patterns.